So I want to start this thing off. I've got a chance to meet a lot of you, but I wanted to start this off with a little poll. First and foremost, who's like super excited for this? Amazing speakers, holy crud. Like I'm trying to censor myself for TV, but like amazing people here, super stoked. TEDxRiverton. Second, who here is like just incredibly good looking? Because like, I was like, what did you do, man? Did you just hire out like a bunch of models for this thing? Like, wow, just the front row. Okay, got it. I was like walking around. I was like, why did you let me in here? Thank you, security. Like, I passed somehow. Amazing. But this is let's get a little bit more serious because we're in serious mode after tacos. Who here has some big goals? Who here feels like they've got some calling to do something massive on this planet? Okay, keep your hands up. Be proud of this. Keep those hands up, okay? Now, of you, with your hands up, maybe you have a metaphorical hand up because you're scared, right? I don't know. I heard the laughs over there, okay. Who here's ever felt, I don't know, lonely on this journey, scared, maybe like completely overwhelmed in the pursuit of this big, amazing thing? Raise your other hand, okay? Like let the record show that's about 90% of everyone, and everyone else that doesn't have their hands raised, they're thinking about raising their hands. That's everybody, right? Like we get scared. We get scared to do this. This is a good thing to see all these hands up because this message is made for you. I think everything in my life just kind of designed for me to stand on this plank of wood and just jump around. I want to bring some energy because we're after tacos, right? So I'm trying to do that. But this message is for you, for all those people that have these big, massive goals. You want to do something big, but sometimes we feel scared or that it's difficult or, you know, that gosh, we put in all this time, money, effort, energy, blood, sweat, and tears into this thing. I feel you, okay? So I'm going to share with you. I've been waiting to be on a stage just like this one, just to share some stories, which I'm going to do with you here in just a second, because I've been super blessed. Gone through a divorce, super blessed. Oh, yeah. Depression, super blessed to go through some of that. Ooh, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Anxiety, stage fright. This isn't a stage, right? Right? Okay. I'm shaking on the inside. It's scary. Okay? We've gone through a lot of things in life. I've gone through a lot of things, and I've been super blessed to do that. And I'll tell you a little bit about my own story and why I feel blessed to have gone through some of these crazy things, like a tornado. I feel like Dorothy, minus the cool hair, landing in this beautiful state called Utah. Wow. Amazing. But man, I've been super blessed on the other side of depression, divorce, experiencing homelessness, big, drastic, dramatic things. All the feelings that you've ever felt for that, go ahead and feel that right now because I've been through that. And I know that this is a common thread here that we've maybe felt some of this before. We saw 90% of the hands go up, and there's a reason why, because we're all human. We're all human. Okay, so I want to share some things. Been super blessed on the other side of all this goodness over here. Been blessed to mentor thousands of entrepreneurs, thousands of coaches and speakers. Been blessed to speak on hundreds of stages, amazing podcasts, shared the stage with some amazing people that we all follow online, speaking in front of amazing people like we have here, okay? First and foremost, give it up for yourself. Okay, it's not easy just to show up here. We still have some empty seats. You recognize that? We all showed up here, and we all freaking deserve that clap right there, okay? But I've been blessed to do all these things, and I'm not sharing these things to impress you. That's not me. That's not who I am. But I am sharing this to hopefully by the end of this talk impress upon you this one infectious idea that us regular people can create irregular results. Is that cool? Is that fair with you? Yeah? Can we buy in on this idea? Yeah. Us normal folk can do some crazy things. Have we not heard some amazing stories already? I mean, my mind is blown every time I just meet someone, the story that they carry with you. And I want to share some of my own stories with you. I'm going to get a little open and vulnerable, some stuff that I've not shared with more than a handful of people ever in my life. And again, I speak in front of a lot of people, and I wanted to bring something special here for you. So if you could maybe just hold a little of that space for me, get grounded, take off your shoes right now, and step on whatever this is on the floor. because we're going to go there, okay? So 3 years old, my mom and dad go through a divorce. And I share that with you because I want you to know just how regular I am. You know, statistically, half of us in this room can identify with that, and the other half can sympathize with that. You know, being a little kid, I was about as tall as I am now, 2 or 3 years old, and you know, I was just confused. I didn't know what was going on. My parents going through a divorce. I didn't really know any better. But I remember my dad. He's a strong gentleman. He picks me up off the ground, puts me in the passenger side of a U-Haul that we just finished packing, and closes the door, and we drive off, and I see him in the rearview mirror. That was confusing as a little tyke. Didn't know what to think of that. But I grow up realizing that, I don't know, maybe it's not that different, but gosh, like Father's Day. Father's Day is this month. And that still gets to me. I'll share a story why. When I was 11 years old, I tried to fill this metaphysical void in my life. And the only way I knew how to do that was to try to take control of anything that was around me. Anytime I saw a penny, this is kind of my thing. Every time I'd see a penny or a nickel or a dime on the floor, I'd pick it up and I'd hold it close to my chest, and I'd wait till I got home and I'd put it in my gigantic piggy bank that I got from my grandma. It was a little piggy bank. You can imagine what that looks like. And every single day, at least 4 or 5 times a day, like this is stuff I don't really share, but it's interesting to me. Every single day I'd open that piggy bank, I'd spread out all the change on the floor, and I'd separate it by denomination. I'd count it over and over and over and over. Yeah, it's weird. You can laugh. It is weird. Okay, but I just want to show you I'm regular. I'm just normal weird guy, okay? But fast forward, when I'm 11 years old, I just desperately wanted to take control of something else. I didn't really know what that was. Maybe it was myself. And I started to dive into music. And namely drums. I was really passionate about just hitting literally anything that was in my way, my body, vocally, anything I could do to pound out a rhythm. It was just something that I had the opportunity to master. It was very difficult. And it turns out playing drums is really difficult when you grow up in a single-family household, not a whole lot of money to go around, and certainly couldn't afford a drum set. But what we could afford, when I would swap all of my change for dollar bills, we could afford a pair of drumsticks. I could afford that, okay? So I had, just imagine, 11-year-old Mikey, about this tall, okay? Not much difference, you recognize, okay? Pair of drumsticks, but nothing to hit. So what do you think I did? I did whatever I could. I wanted to play drums. I was into music. I wanted to do this thing for real. And so I grabbed the only thing I had, my little pillow, okay? And as you can imagine, if you've ever played on a drum, you ever hit it, it has a nice little bounce to it, right? It's a little bouncy when you hit it with a drumstick. Not a pillow. And here's the interesting thing. Here I am, 9 times out of 10, I'm in the basement by myself with the music in my head, drumsticks in my hand, and I'd play that pillow. If you ever heard a pillow being played, it's music to an 11-year-old's ear. But I always looked at it as a disadvantage. All my friends had these amazing little drum sets. Mom and dad went in, 11 years old, you get this cool drum set. Not me. I had pillows. For days I had pillows. And this lifeless, dull pillow I thought was my disadvantage showed up in interesting ways. When I would hang out with my friends and we'd, play on the marching snare line, I realized something, that I could play a lot faster with a lot more control and a lot more precision than any of my friends ever could. And it's because of that dang pillow. If I want to play as fast as my friend Joe, by the way, hey Joe, if I want to play as fast and as good as him on a pillow, I got to play harder. I got to play faster. I've got to allow these little fast twitch muscles in my forearm to grow faster. I've got to be better. And it didn't quite connect for me. I didn't quite get how this pillow could have been the change that I needed. Like the disadvantage that I ever felt from playing on this dang pillow, pelted with little drumstick marks, allowed me to become one of the best drummers in my junior high school. My high school, I went on to college, and we got to record some albums with some friends, and some of us have heard some of these songs, and it's been really cool. And I share that because I just want to share how regular I am. I just want to be relatable. Gosh, if you ever felt like you've had that disadvantage in your life, hello, I've been there. I get it. Okay, 11 years old, growing up that way. Now, fast forward, I'm 14 years old. My uncle decides that, hey, you know what? Michael needs some guidance in his life. Maybe we should take him to a youth group at the church. I've never been to church, by the way, at this point. And I was like, oh, okay, I can meet some new people, girls. And it sounds fun. Yeah, I'll be there for sure. So I go to this youth group, and they all label me this identity as the drummer. I was the drummer. I was that dude. Like, I was the guy that was going to play drums. And that was cool. Like, some guys thought it was cool. The girls loved it. Girls loved the drummers. I don't know. I was less bald back then. It was really cool. We were going to put a picture of The Rock up on the screen just to show you, like, the similarities between our physiques, but we lost the picture. It was, okay, he's like, no, we're never going to do that. But it was really cool. It was a lot of fun to be known as this person. Before, I felt kind of lost, kind of similar to some of the other stories that we heard, that maybe I was scared, I was frightened, I didn't know what else to do and how else to act. And I will never forget this. My older brother at the time is big into sports and was never home. My younger sister was always out playing with friends, and it was usually me by myself in the basement with my pillow, just practicing away. And I remember there was this one night we were all home. Defining moment in my life. We were all home, which was odd to begin with, but I remember my mom getting this phone call telling us that my father had just gone to jail for murder. I want that to settle in for a second. Your eyes should get bigger, because that isn't a usual thing, a usual phone call to get as a teenager. And man, my heart sank. The anger, the frustration, the sadness, the shame, and the guilt that would set in. The identity crisis that says, oh my gosh, this is my own father. This is my dad. Like, what does that say about me? All the questions that I ever had about my life just really took hold of me. And I dove even deeper into music. I desperately wanted to carve out my own way. I wanted to create my own identity, something different than what my family is now, okay? Really hard, really heavy for me. And I remember the coolest thing ever. Okay, picture this, right? I'm going to jump over here to paint a little picture. Here I am, little kid, right? Parents divorced, getting into music, playing drums, loving it, trying my best to be the best at it, doing some cool things with that. Moving forward, getting some crazy news, diving even deeper into playing drums, never owning a drum set. And I show up at youth group, and the youth group leader is like, hey, Mikey, everyone called me Mikey then. You can call me Mikey, but Michael I prefer. He's like, hey, we don't have a drummer for church this weekend. Do you want to play drums? I'm like, yeah, I've never played on stage before. It's scary as crap. So yes, I do. Like, this was my time to break out of this identity that I felt was looming over my head. And I show up, I'm scared, but I do it anyway. Okay, I'm sitting behind the little drum set, and I'm just ready. Like, I've got my sticks, and this is a real live drum set. Holy moly, okay? And the pastor walks up, and he welcomes everyone in. They have their seat, and he gives a special welcome to all the fathers in the audience, because it was Father's Day. And as you can imagine, I mean, I get goosebumps right now. This is really the first time I'm telling this story ever in my life. I just connected the dots between everything that had happened to me, maybe rather for me, to bring me to that spot in my life. Impact is an understatement. That's a word that I use in my daily vocabulary. And that day it meant something very, very different. I knew that I belonged there. I know that I belong here. And I want to change the vibe here. So we're going to do something a little different to end this thing off. I'd love to play drums for you, but as you can see, I don't have a drum set here. But I do have something else. I do have this little voice that you've been listening to for the last 9.5 minutes. And I'd love your help, some participation if we're cool with that. If we're cool with it, give a little clap. Yeah? Okay. So as a drummer, boom, sitting on my throne here, if I use this foot, usually it's a what? It's a bass drum. Yeah, some of you drummers, okay, all right, cool. We got to talk afterwards, okay? But this isn't going to make any sound, is it? But this right here is my bass drum, all right? So every time I do this, I just want you to make a little boom sound. Can we do that? You're really good, okay. But over here is my hi-hat. It makes a little sound like a t, 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 t. Keep going, yeah, uh-huh. Okay, all right, you got it. Now over here, I got my snare drum. This is my baby. It just sits right here. And every time I hit it, it makes like a little cracking sound like this. Okay, that's good. Hi-hat's good, bass drum's good. Snare drum. Maybe let's do a pop sound. Pop, 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 pop. Okay, we got it. So every time, I'm going to sit on my little pretend. Now we're down in my basement, right? Like we're getting real. Like we're taking it home. So I'm going to be hitting this bass drum like this. And a little hi-hat. We got some musicians over here. And then we're gonna bring in this snare drum. Pop, pop, boom, pop. Now keep this going, okay? Keep this going. Yeah, this is a rhythm right here. I'm gonna do a little extra for us. Boom, pop, boom, pop, boom, pop, boom. That was really good. Boom, 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 pop, pop. Okay. Thank you very much.